My front door rattled like it was fighting the wind. It wasn't the wind. It was her. A woman stood on my porch in the kind of coat that looked too expensive for my small-town Nebraska. Her makeup was clean but rushed, like she'd done it in a moving car. Her hands were shaking, but her eyes were steady. "I need a husband by tomorrow," she said. I actually laughed, one sharp breath. "Ma'am, you're at the wrong house." She swallowed hard, like she'd rehearsed this line 100 times and still hated saying it. "No, I'm at the right one. Ethan Miller, you're the only one who can do this." My name coming from a stranger's mouth should have scared me more than it did. I stepped onto the porch. "How do you know my name?" Her gaze flicked to the gravel driveway, to my truck, to the dark field behind it, like she was making sure no one followed her. Then she looked back at me and said the part that changed everything. "If I'm not married tomorrow, I lose everything, and someone else gets to decide what happens to me." I should have shut the door, but I didn't, because I saw something behind her confidence. Panic. The kind that comes when you've run out of options. I said, "Come inside. You're freezing." She walked past me like she'd been here before, and maybe, in some way, she had. In my kitchen, she didn't sit like a guest. She sat like someone who needed shelter. "My name is Claire," she said. "I'm not asking you to love me. I'm asking you to sign a paper." "A marriage license," I replied, like I was tasting the words. "Yes." I stared at her. "Why me?" She reached into her purse and pulled out a folded envelope, thick, official-looking. She slid it across the table. Inside were documents, not just papers, proof, a legal deadline, a trust, a will, and one sentence I couldn't ignore. "If Claire Hart is not legally married by 5 p.m. tomorrow, her guardianship and inheritance transfer to her step-uncle, Victor Hale." I looked up. "This is real." "It's real," she whispered. "And Victor is not a man you want owning your future." I frowned. "Why can't you marry literally anyone else?" Her jaw tightened. "Because Victor controls everyone in my world. He already bought the judge. He already bought the witnesses. He already bought my fiancée." My stomach turned. "Your fiancé?" She let out a bitter laugh. "Ex, as of tonight." I stood up, pacing. My house was quiet, simple. My biggest problem this week had been a broken fence post. And now a stranger was telling me a legal marriage was the only thing standing between her and a man powerful enough to erase her life. I stopped pacing. "What do you get from this besides paperwork?" She looked down, then back up. "Safety, time, control." "And what do I get?" I asked. She hesitated, then said it like she hated admitting it. "You get paid." I almost smiled. "I'm a farmer, Claire, not a contract husband." Her eyes softened. "Then be a good man, for one day." That hit harder than the money. Still, I kept my voice firm. "If I do this, there are rules." "Name them." I pointed toward the hallway. "Rule 1. If you're staying here, you don't lie to me in my own house." Her lips parted, and for the first time she looked guilty. Then she nodded. "Okay." "Rule 2, I continued. "We keep this clean. This is a marriage of convenience, a paper thing." A pause. She said quietly, That's what I want too. But the way she said it didn't sound like she believed it. We drove to the courthouse the next morning. Small-town courthouses don't feel romantic. They smell like old paper and worn carpet. But Claire walked in like she was entering a battlefield. A clerk eyed us suspiciously. "You two getting married today?" Claire's fingers grabbed my sleeve. Tight. I said, "Yes, ma'am." The clerk slid forms toward us. "Sign here and here." Claire signed fast. Too fast. Her hand shook again. I leaned closer. "Claire, if you're not sure—" "I'm sure," she snapped, then softened. "I have to be." We got married at 2:17 p.m. No guests, no flowers, no vows. Just ink. Just a stamp. Just me and a woman I barely knew, standing shoulder to shoulder like soldiers. Outside, she exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. "It's done," she whispered. For a second, she smiled, and I felt something dangerous in my chest. Hope. For her. For us. For a future that wasn't even mine. Then a black SUV rolled up to the curb. My body went cold. A man stepped out. Tall, expensive suit, smug smile. The kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Claire's whole face drained of color. "Victor," she breathed. He clapped slowly. "Well, well. Claire Hart finally made a decision. And who's this?" He looked me up and down like I was a tool someone left in the mud. I stepped forward. "I'm Ethan, her husband." Victor laughed like that was the funniest thing he'd heard all year. Then he leaned in close enough that I could smell his cologne and said in a voice meant only for me, "Enjoy it while it lasts, because you have no idea who you just married." My stomach flipped. And then he said the next line, soft, poisonous. "She didn't come to you by accident." Claire grabbed my arm. "Ethan, don't listen to him." Victor's eyes gleamed. "Oh, he should listen. Tell him, Claire. Tell him what you really are." The courthouse suddenly felt too bright, too open, too exposed. I turned to her. "Claire, what's he talking about?" She couldn't meet my eyes. That was the twist. Not Victor. Not the money. Not even the marriage. It was the fact that Claire had chosen me for a reason she hadn't told me, and I was about to find out. Back at the farm, Claire paced my living room like a trapped animal. I stood near the window, watching the road, half expecting that black SUV to come back. "Start talking," I said. Her voice cracked. "I didn't want you involved." "You involved me when you knocked on my door." She flinched. I took a breath. "Why me, Claire?" She stopped pacing. Then she pulled a small photo from her wallet. Old, creased, like it had been held 1,000 times. She handed it to me. It was a picture of my dad, my father, standing beside a man I didn't recognize, both of them in work clothes, arms around each other like brothers. My throat tightened. "Where did you get this?" "My mother," she whispered. "She kept it hidden. She told me, if anything ever happened to her, I should find you." My voice lowered. "Your mother knew my father?" Claire nodded, tears shining in her eyes. "They were involved in something. Something that could ruin Victor." I stared at the photo, my mind racing. "So you came here because you think I can protect you?" "I came," she said, stepping closer. Because Victor is terrified of the Miller name. That made no sense. My family farm wasn't powerful. We weren't rich. We weren't connected. We were invisible. Claire's voice trembled. Your dad helped expose Victor once. It didn't work. People disappeared. Evidence vanished. Your father died. My chest tightened like a fist. My dad died in an accident. Claire swallowed. That's what they told you. Silence filled my house like smoke. I felt the anger rise, not at Claire, not even yet at Victor. At the world. At the lies. At the idea that my father might have been fighting something I never knew existed. I grabbed the back of a chair so hard my knuckles turned white. Why didn't you tell me any of this last night? She cried quietly. Because I needed you to say yes. I stared at her. So you used me. Her face broke. Yes. And I hate myself for it. That honesty hit me like a punch. Because for the first time, she wasn't acting strong. She was just scared. Then the phone on the wall rang. Old landline, barely used. I picked up. A calm voice said, Ethan Miller, you married Claire Hart. My blood ran cold. Who is this? Someone who knows Victor Hale doesn't lose, the voice said. You have 24 hours to undo this, or you'll both pay. The line went dead. Claire was staring at me, her breathing shallow. I looked at her and realized something terrifying. This wasn't a paper marriage anymore. This was war. And she wasn't leaving my house. Not alive. Not if I had anything to do with it. That night, Claire sat on the edge of my bed because she refused to sleep alone. I gave her my room, took the couch, and left the door open like she asked. At 2 a.m., I heard her whisper my name. Ethan? I sat up. Yeah. Her voice was small. Why are you still here? I rubbed my face. Because I'm your husband. A beat. She laughed softly through tears. You don't have to say it like it means something. I stood in the doorway. In the moonlight, she looked younger, tired, human. I'm not saying it for show, I said. I'm saying it because Victor threatened you in my kitchen without even stepping inside. She swallowed. I'm sorry. I know, I replied. She looked at me like she was trying to memorize my face. Then she said the line that changed the air between us. I didn't expect you to be kind. I leaned against the doorframe. People expect the worst from you? Yes, she whispered. Because of my last name. Because of money. Because I've had to survive. I nodded slowly. Then let's survive together. Her eyes filled again. She stood, walked toward me, and stopped inches away, close enough that I could feel her warmth. This was supposed to be fake, she said. I know. Her hands hovered near my chest, not touching. Then why does it feel real? She asked. I didn't answer with words. I just put my hand over hers, gentle, steady, and she finally let herself breathe. The next morning, we didn't run. We prepared. I called the one person in town who still owed my father a favor, an old lawyer who hated Victor Hale's name. Claire dug through her documents, shaking but determined. We weren't just protecting her inheritance anymore. We were digging up the truth about my father. And the deeper we dug, the more we realized Victor wasn't coming for Claire's money. He was coming for something else. Something hidden. Something my family had kept buried in this land for years. Claire looked at me, jaw set, eyes fierce. "What if we can't win?" she asked. I took her hand. "Then we don't lose quietly." And that's when the black SUV appeared again at the end of my driveway, stopped, and just sat there, watching, waiting. Like Victor was smiling behind tinted glass, because he knew something we didn't yet.